Hi and welcome to Simracing Corner and our Lenovo Explorer mixed reality headset review for Simracing. And here's the shiny box in all its glory. I picked this up for just £149 during the Black Friday sale, which is £50 lower than the best price you can find right now at box.co.uk, and Amazon is currently selling this model for just over £300. Originally, this VR headset launched in the UK with a retail price of £399, so it's dropped considerably in a little over a year since hitting the stores. During Black Friday, the Oculus Rift was reduced to £349 and the HTC Vive was still a hefty £499 with a discount. So compared to competing VR headsets, this Lenovo Explorer was an amazing deal at £149. We've successfully navigated the security tape and we're about to open the box to reveal the goodies stored within. So here it is. Everything is well protected with this sectioned thick foam padding. The first thing we find resting on top is a folder containing, and in no particular order, we have the ubiquitous multi-language instruction booklet, a fold-out quick start guide, warranty information and a useful little cleaning cloth for our headset lenses. Let's shove this out of the way for the moment and find out what's hidden beneath. In this little box we have 4 AA batteries for our hand controllers. Each controller uses 2 of these batteries. And here are the controllers, individually wrapped for freshness no doubt. Let's get into the bags and take a closer look, so please bear with me. The Windows Mixed Reality controllers have a trigger, a grip button, trackpad, joystick, a menu button and finally a button sporting a Windows logo. To turn the controllers on and off, hold down this button for a couple of seconds. And the halo ring at the head of the controllers is packed with LED lights for the camera on the headset to be able to track their position in VR games and experiences. One thing that isn't mentioned or included in the box is you need a Bluetooth 4.0 dongle on your PC for the controllers to function. The controllers fit in the hand ergonomically and are not very heavy. The trigger, trackpad, thumbstick and buttons always remain within easy reach. The trigger feels like an Xbox controller trigger, so it doesn't click at the end, which would have been nice to have. And finally, the controllers feature haptic feedback, just like the HTC Vive and Oculus Rift controllers. And now the part you've been waiting for, the headset itself. It weighs in at a mere 380 grams, excluding the cable weight of course. The attached cable is 4 meters in length and weighs 169 grams. The display resolution of the LCD 90Hz screens is 1440 by 1440 per eye. We have a convenient flip-up visor, so we don't need to remove the entire headset while in VR for a quick drink, or operating the keyboard or such like. It comes with fixed Fresnel lenses for 110 degrees field of view, which is the same as the HTC Vive and Oculus Rift headsets. There's no physical IPD adjustment, however there is a software-based IPD adjustment in the Windows Mixed Reality software. The headset fits on your head using a rigid plastic band, and using the dial to increase or reduce the size of the fitting. The idea is you clamp the headset around the top of your head to give a good firm hold and keep the visor in place even during vigorous head movements. Fabric covered foam located at the front and back is used for both comfort and grip. We'll remove this protective plastic. As with all Windows Mixed Reality headsets, it uses 2 cameras located on the front of the headset for inside-out tracking and a full 6 degrees of freedom. The cameras also track the position of the controllers in VR2. The Lenovo Explorer comes in a matte black finish and overall it's a good looking discreet design. The build quality feels solid, there's no creaking or rattling, so it's scoring some good points here. At the end of the 4 meter cable it splits into 2 for a USB 3.0 plug for both powering the headset and data, and the HDMI plug for the video feed. And the cable is flexible and no thicker than a good quality USB 3 cable. And here's a close-up of the Lenovo Explorer headset. The foam face pad is quite thin, but with the padding being a complete seal and covering the bridge of the nose, along with the smallish nose cutout, it completely eliminates light leakage, so that's a well thought out design feature. Now let's try it on for size. A quick adjustment on the dial and pop it on the head. A shake of the head to test to see if it stays in place. That all seems okay. And the visor flips up and I'm back in the real world. This headset feels very light and comfortable. The visor feels perfectly contoured to my profile. It's not pressing, it's a very light touch. So my first impression on how it fits and feels is very positive. Now we've had a good look at the headset and what we get in the box, let's find out how well this Lenovo Explorer handles our sim racing titles. I've skipped the software setup, it's very straightforward. After plugging in the headset into your PC, Windows recognises and downloads the mixed reality software, then followed by the setup process, which is a series of prompts to get the headset working in your room space and the controllers connected, then learning some basics. Within a few minutes you're ready to go. After that, in Steam, download Windows Mixed Reality for Steam VR and launch this, and from there you load your VR games. It's very straightforward. And here's our first game, it's Race Room. Super sampling is set at 120% on the two 1440 by 1440 resolution displays. The visuals appear very sharp. I have good visibility into the distance. The dashboard is detailed and I have no problem reading the dashboard display in this VR car, and the headset on my head feels great. It's very comfortable. I don't want to make this a comparison video versus my HTC Vive headset, but I think it's worth noting some differences. The high resolution of the Lenovo Explorer headset is noticeable at 1440 by 1440 per eye compared to the HTC Vive. Both the HTC Vive and Oculus Rift use AMOLED displays at 1080 by 1200 per eye, and this bump in resolution with this mixed reality headset is very welcome, and so is the reduced screen door effect. However, the picture brightness and colour vibrancy is a higher quality on the HTC Vive headset by some measure. The way I would compare this, on the Vive, this daytime race is a bright and sunny day and it looks just that using the Vive. Using the Explorer headset, the visual appearance is more like an overcast day, and this is the difference between the panels used. So the AMOLED displays in the HTC Vive are technically superior to the LCD panels in the mixed reality headset, even though we have a high resolution here. While we watch some Project Cars footage, I'll continue on the subject of the mixed reality headset displays. In our Lenovo headset, if you move your head around quickly, you can see a slight blur to the pixels. And again, this is down to the panels in the headset, but it's very slight and generally not that noticeable in use, but it's worth mentioning all the same, and compared to the HTC Vive, there's no perceivable blur during quick head movements. Project Cars 2 is performing very well. We're using 130% super sampling with our GTX 1080 Ti, along with medium multi-sample anti-aliasing, giving us a very sharp image. So this mixed reality headset is clearly compatible with Project Cars 2, no problem, so it's a thumbs up, really nothing more to say here. And the game test you may have been waiting for, ACC, the experience is passable even if the frame rates aren't telling that same story. I'm having a hard time maintaining 90 FPS on this headset, and it's often falling back to 45 FPS and using its frame doubling reprojection. But my perception is it's still running quite smoothly at 45 FPS, and most of the time I'm rarely aware it's running at this lower frame rate. So the reprojection is doing a great job here. I could lower the VR pixel density below the 130 I'm running here, but I prefer the sharper image quality at 130 right now. We're also using the engine ini tweaks to improve the overall visual quality of ACC. No matter what VR headset you have, ACC is very demanding, and that's just a fact we have to live with currently. With all that said, I was still having a jolly time in ACC. It's drivable for me, and therefore another pass for the Lenovo Explorer headset. And over to rFactor 2. This isn't a title I play often, I must admit, probably the first time in 2 years. So rFactor 2 isn't going to be a favourite VR sim game for me anytime soon, I think. But I didn't spend much time dialing in the force feedback or the graphic settings. So I wasn't really feeling it during my short play session recording this footage. But I'll reserve judgment based on my minimal effort getting the game set up. But it works on the Lenovo Explorer headset, which is the main thing of course. Moving on swiftly, Dirt Rally. This game was released almost 3 years to the day that I'm making this video. Dirt Rally is notable for being Codemaster's one and only VR game to date, and only having native Oculus Rift support out of the box. However, using Revive, we can play Dirt Rally quite easily on our Lenovo Explorer headset, and this is me not doing so well due to lack of practice, I'm afraid. An amazing game in VR and a must have, it's a lot of fun. Going back to the headset, I wanted to tell you about the head tracking accuracy of the Lenovo Explorer, as it's perfect. I can't fault it. The head tracking, as far as I'm concerned, is equal to the HTC Vive. So I'm just talking about the head tracking and not the hand controllers and how they track. That's a different conversation and I'll bring that up later. As this is a review for Simracing, our primary interest is the headset component. So if you had any questions or concerns about the head tracking capability, have no doubts, it just works perfectly. I didn't have a single problem during my testing. And this is the final game I wanted to show you. It's the original Assetto Corsa. I'm leaving the best till last because it's stunning on this headset and rightly deserves to have the longest playback as we wrap up the review. Assetto Corsa is playing at 130% super sampling along with some in-game anti-aliasing. It's super sharp and giving us super smooth performance. Out of all the games shown today, Assetto Corsa is the best looking of the batch in VR on this headset without any doubt, and you'll have to take my word for that, as the recorded footage you can see on your monitor here is going to be different from what your eyes would capture through a VR headset. I said I'll talk about the hand controllers and their tracking capability. Okay, let's consider the HTC Vive hand tracking is an A, so that's an A rating if you will. That means it's 100% perfect. Well, most of the time. It can glitch out too, but when functioning normally it's millimeter perfect tracking and completely stable. Now, the mixed reality hand controllers, I'd give them a C. They track 90% of the time, because that 10% is when your hand is placed outside the field of view of the cameras, and it will depend on the game and how your hand movements naturally operate in the game. Bow games are always the prime example that comes up, and yes, there is difficulty here. I tried a couple of bow games and it wasn't a complete disaster. It was still playable, just not perfect, so I had to settle with some compromises. I also played Beat Saber and had no problems at all swinging my arms around wildly. The hand tracking was very effective. It was almost as good as using my Vive controllers. And my final test was playing 11 table tennis. That's a particular favourite of mine and that played perfectly. It's a game that requires accurate tracking to be able to strike the ball with the correct power and paddle angle, and it works absolutely fine. So there you are. It's not bad at all really. The hand tracking is fit for purpose for many games, with limitations with some titles when we take into account the restricted camera field of view of the controller tracking ability. But not having to set up external trackers is a benefit of inside-out tracking as well. Okay, so let's wrap up with a summary and conclusion, starting with the positives. It's easy to set up. There's no need to plant external trackers around the room like on the walls or shelves, or indeed using stands. And we don't need any extra USB ports like the Oculus Rift sensors or the Vive requiring wall sockets to power the external lighthouses. So this is a very convenient and portable headset. Accurate head tracking, the 6 degrees of freedom tracks perfectly, not a single glitch playing any of our titles during the testing. The high resolution display, it gave us good detail and view distances in our games. The great design, it's light and comfortable, making it suitable for long VR sessions. Windows Mixed Reality headsets are compatible with all Simracing titles, and in fact most other Steam VR titles as well. Value for money, and especially look out for them in sales as there are significant savings to be had. In the US they can be found for as little as $99, and that's absolutely amazing. And now looking at the not so good aspects of the headset. The brightness of the display could be better and the colours and contrast is lacking compared to AMOLED displays featured in the more expensive headsets. That's for sure. It's what we get for the budget price of this headset. There's a slight blur when moving your head around. It's not a huge deal breaker and it's only noticeable when you look quite closely. There's no headphones or earbuds included in the box, so you need to provide your own. You need onboard Bluetooth 4.0 or a Bluetooth 4.0 dongle for the hand controllers to work. Why it isn't included within the headset or mentioned on the box, I don't know. The hand controller tracking can be spotty. As I said earlier, it's dependent on the type of game you're playing, and considering the low price of this product, it's a fair trade-off. And the final verdict is in. For me, the positives far outweigh the negatives. This headset is awesome, and I will be using this Lenovo Explorer for most of my future VR sim racing for sure. I cannot overstate how much the comfort of the headset is important to me now I've discovered this one. Having used the Vive for nearly 3 years, I've got used to it, but it's heavy and it's cumbersome. It's almost twice the weight of this Lenovo Explorer headset. The headset rests on your head like a hat, there's no pressure. It makes a big difference for long sessions. And the resolution works really well for sim racing. The clear sharp image it produces is easy on the eyes, and being able to see objects far in the distance adds to the overall immersion. So yeah, if you're looking to buy a headset just for VR sim racing, and I know a lot of you dedicated sim racers out there rarely step out beyond sim racing games, and the Oculus Rift is generally the preferred headset for sim racers. But the Windows Mixed Reality headsets are very much worth checking out if you haven't decided yet and still researching, particularly if the controllers are never going to get used. You get a lot of value for your money here. I paid £149 and it was a steal. That's really cheap. But if you're seeking out a more capable VR headset for both sim racing and other VR games, maybe the Oculus Rift would be the better option. The HTC Vive is still very expensive, so I kind of think it's more made for the more dedicated VR gamers. I think you can tell already, I very much like this Lenovo Explorer Windows Mixed Reality headset, and very much indeed. It offers great value and a great performer, and completely exceeded my expectations considering the low price. It's an absolute winner, I love it. And that's my final verdict, I recommend it totally. So drop a comment if you want to ask me anything else about this review or anything else about the headset, and I'll be happy to reply. So chaps, we're almost done. If you watched this far, thanks for watching. I spent quite a few hours making this video over the last few days, so please hit the like, I would appreciate that very much, and it helps the channel tremendously. And subscribe if you haven't done so already, if you want to keep up with my sim racing exploits. I have plenty of interesting videos coming up I think you'll like. So then, happy simming, and I'll catch you in the next one. Bye bye for now.